Hey guys, Ryua here, and today I'm going to show you something a little bit different. This is my build for the Sunwuko Kick Monk. Just so you know, just right off the get-go, this is not a build that's going to be chasing leaderboards. There's not enough modifying pieces to make it competitive, even compared to the Sunwuko's Wave of Light Monk. But it is still a really fun build, and it can do T10 pretty solidly. It's not something that Diablo's really had in the past because the kick just was way too underpowered. But with a few new pieces that they've added in this season, it makes it a viable build. So the main gearing you need is the Sunwuko set, which I'm using 5 pieces in the royal ring in my cube. This is going to give you that 1500% to the tail kick, plus it gives you the damage reduction for the sweeping wind, which is very important, as we all know, to do griffs or even to do T10. So to go with that sweeping wind, I'm also using the Kiyoshiro's Soul, which stacks your sweeping wind every 2 seconds, and that will help you keep that buff active. You don't want your sweeping wind to ever go away. One of the things is that to get the 1500%, it's going to consume a stack of the sweeping wind. So you want to make sure you keep that sweeping wind up all the time. So the belt helps with that, and also having the vengeful wind in your cube so that you can have up to 10 stacks also helps with that. The support pieces for the extra kick damage is the Rivera Dancer's boots, which are new, and they will give you up to a 300% increased damage and kick 50% faster, which is really cool. Part of what makes this build extra fun is how fast you kick. The other support piece is the Spirit Zone for kicking. The fireball that comes with the legendary power really isn't useful. You kind of see it kind of looks cool, but there's no damage modifiers to it, and so it just really doesn't pack enough power to really be factored in. The main reason you're using this piece is because it can roll up to 100% more damage to the lashing tail kick. So I'm also using the Focus and Restraint set because this is a very spirit hungry build, and so you will be using a spirit generator alternately with your kick. So I'm using these 2 pieces to give a little bit more damage. I'm also using a very little use set, which is the Little Rogue and the Slander. And they're kind of a rare drop, which makes it kind of hard to use, and there's not a lot of builds where you can really give up the weapon slots. But this one, there wasn't really any particular weapon you needed for the build, so I wanted to try it out. And basically, it gives you a 6% increase to attack speed, damage, and armor, and it can stack 5 times. So that's a pretty good chunk, and with the amount of time every time I'm kicking, because you kick fast and you can get your spirit back fast with this build, pretty much that buff is up always. I don't ever see it drop below the 5 stacks. The other support piece I'm using is the Spirit Guards, just for defense. And then in my cube, the other piece that I have is the Cinder Coat because, of course, this is, like I said, this is a very spirit-hungry build, and you really want to be able to keep getting kicks out. And this is really the only way to reduce the cost of the kicks, unlike the Wave of Light, which has an item which does that for you, which is another reason why this build won't compete with it, because it does, cost a lot of spirit. So for the skills I'm using, the Lashing Tail Kick, you actually have 2 options. One option is the one that just does more damage as fire in a bigger radius. And this one is really nice when you have lots of enemies grouped around you. You can blow them up really good. You can also use the Spinning Flame Kick. Both of these are viable, and it's more a choice of playstyle. The nice thing about this the Spinning Flame Kick is that you have some ranged options. So if there's a lot of junk on the ground that you just can't stand in, you can still attack from a distance with this one. It's a little harder to aim, and it will shoot the flames into a row. Whereas this one gives you a nice big radius. So damage-wise, they're about equal. It's more about playstyle and how you can line up your stuff. So the other skills I'm using Quickening Fists of Thunder to generate my spirit, because that's one of the fastest spirit generators. And it also lets you have some mobility teleporting to the target. I am using Dashing Strike to help get me out of bad situations and also just to simply move around the board faster. I'm using Epiphany. Epiphany is nice because it gives you more defense, and it also increases your spirit regeneration. So it's great when you're fighting the elites or the Rift Guardian. For the Sweeping Wind, I'm using Inner Storm, again, because you really need to keep that spirit up. And then for the Mantra of Salvation, or for the mantra, I'm using Mantra of Salvation. I'm using Agility. I really do like the increased resistance, and I like the increased dodge chance. You can kind of play around with this one depending on your preference, but I would pick a defensive one here. For your passives, of course, I use Near Death Experience. I wouldn't run without it. Sixth Sense, basically, it's just too good to pass up for defense. Harmony, again, that's for defense. And then for your fourth passive, really you have a couple choices. I really enjoy the one that gives me more attack speed, because then I can just get that spirit right back really fast. You can also pick, the Guardian's Path if you really like the real high dodge. You can pick a more damage passive to add in there. You can put in cooldown reduction. You really can play with this one to see what you like best. And then for the legendary gems, I'm using the Esoteric for defense, the Bane of the Trapped for more damage output, and the Bane of the Stricken. And then also, just so you know, I've thrown in some cooldown reduction on my gear. And the reasoning for this is simply to have my Epiphany up as often as possible so that I can always have it available. So let me show you a little bit of how this build looks. And there you have the Sunwuko Kick Monk. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I would encourage you to try out a variation of this build yourself. It is really fun. And please subscribe to my channel and follow me on Twitter to find out when all of my videos come out, and we will catch you next time.